I get this is about to be the playoffs, and they want to make him eligible for the playoffs, so I understand that as well. So then they waited, they dragged their feet. But also, like, do you see him playing in the playoffs after he went 0 for 9? Like, and I mean, but I get
Walter
it.
said it's a possibility.
After last night and
See it.
even today, because you know what it is? He got on base 2 times today, and yesterday he had a home run and a double. So I'm going to say yes. But no, I completely agree. And what the thing is about it, too, is that when they brought up Vientos as well, I mean, Beatty kind of like, I was okay, he didn't pan out. But Vientos before him didn't make sense. If anything, you should have brought him up at the deadline.
Earlier.
You shouldn't
in the
even have
season,
got
like,
rough. Like, what was
when
the point of
games
getting
don't
rough?
matter. My thing also, I was just like, he went 0 for 9, and in Game 3 towards the end, that little check swing towards the end of the game, he looked shook. He looked like a fucking ghost, bro. Like, he looked whiter than you, Wulfy. He was a ghost.
Dude.
Wow.
No, dude, I agree with that, too. And what's wild, too, is like you said, what?
I'm always ready.
You look a little tired over there. Do I need to put a little extra spice in my intro to wake you up, bro?
Hell yeah. Light a fire under my ass.
Take a little dab of cold
That was the softest hell yeah ever.
Hell yeah.
He's like, hell yeah, I'd like that, Poppy. Take me out to dinner. Alright. Woo! Let's go. Welcome to the Built Different podcast. Let's get it. Welcome, everybody, to the Built Different podcast. Episode 8, and you know what time it is? Sorry, I'm so aggressive. I'm banging on my desk and everything. But it's playoff time. I got my cup of wine. Because it's playoff time, I'm going to have a cup of wine whenever I talk about this baseball shit. But it's episode 8. I'm your co-host, Thomas Saxby, as always, with my other beautiful co-hosts. We got Wulfy, Not So White Chris, and we got Devontae, Poppy Devontae.
Yeah, favorite.
How you guys doing today? Hell yeah, but you're not in a wife beater today.
It's too cold.
What's going on?
It's fucking brick right now, bro.
It's cold. It is cold in New York. We're all a bunch of New Yorkers just starting to suffer in the cold.
How's your Pinot Grigio over there?
Word. His box of wine.
Listen, man. No, it actually is. I don't know what kind of wine it is. It's some cheap
It's
wine.
from the box.
Everyone in New York has a sinus strip right now.
Fact.
Dude, oh yeah, I just got over mine. It's horrible.
Yeah, I still have mine.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
So listen, we're going to start you guys off with some opening takes, but just wanted to say, everyone that's listening to us, everyone that's been a constant listener through everything, we thank you so much. Episode 8, it doesn't seem like much, but it's a milestone for me, for the crew, for the gang. So we're gonna give you a fire episode. We're gonna rustle Devontae up because Devontae just woke up from a beauty nap. Look at him. He's fucking gorgeous. He's fucking gorgeous, guys. Look at him.
He just wakes up like,
right.
Just like shines when he comes up out of bed.
So Wulfy, man, what's at the top of your mind? What's up, man? I know it was a very, very tough past week for you, man.
It was, but there is one shining star in this, and you would think it would be the Mets, but it's actually the Orioles back there. I wanted to talk about them quick. They obviously didn't make the playoffs. I thought they were going to make a run at it. They did to the end, but, nothing in the playoffs. But last year they were 52 and 110, which is crazy to think about because they ended 83 and 74. Excuse me.
Hey, if you would have told
79.
me that the Orioles were winning 80 games, I would have laughed you right on out of the post.
Word, if you would have told me we were going to be in 4th place, I wouldn't have believed you.
Yeah. I was going to say 4th place. It wasn't even like... Dude, they came out of nowhere. They have Gunnar Henderson now. They have Adley going forward. I was going to talk about their starting pitching, which is pretty much average, but their bullpen, we went through it before the episode started. They have guys in the sub-2s, mostly guys in the 2 ERAs. Like, if they keep some of this talent around going forward, they also have a new manager, which, we'll say that's later, which is pretty good. This team is looking solid going forward. Now it's kind of like that Pirate situation we talked about episodes ago. If depending on ownership, if they're going to actually do anything to add on to that talent. But man, this team really stepped it up this year, and it's good to see. Good to see the young talent coming through.
Dude, for sure. And my opening take, man, I know I don't complain about them enough, but the Washington Nationals. So, Mike Rizzo, our general manager, decided to, sit here and get his little Twitter fingers going, start talking to the media. And what did this guy say? He said that the Nationals are going to be the most aggressive team in free agency, no matter what market it is, whether it's the offseason or like the free agency market, the trade market, the international market. He said whatever market it is, we're getting. And you know what? I look at these free agents, and I think he's right. I do think that, we'll sign Johnny Cueto. I definitely I think, I don't see where he's going with that. I don't know why he said that. We don't really have a team to sit here and say if we have an aggressive free agency, we'll win again next year. Maybe I'm wrong. He sees what I don't see, but I wish it would stop, man. Just let us rebuild in peace, bro. Like he did this last year, and our top acquisition was Nelson Cruz. He was like, we're going to surround Juan Soto with the guys that he needs. And he got Nelson Cruz.
Johnny Cueto?
Listen, I love Nelly, man. I love Nelly, but, like, come on. That's the guy. You looked at Juan Soto and I and said, yes, we want to win. We agree with you. And you went out and you got Nelson Cruz, who I don't even think he gave you 10 home runs this year.
That's insane.
Yeah, like he really got past first base.
Yeah, man, that's the top free agent that he's talking about. We're gonna get Johnny Cueto.
What the hell? I almost
and Michael Givens
played baseball.
Yep.
Oh my gosh! Don't even.
Those are gonna. Okay, so he has 10 home runs on the dot. Thank God he got to double digits. Woo, Nelson Cruz.
I agree with that, especially with the talent that's coming forward and the games they've been playing recently, beating like actual good teams. Why the hell would you just pump the brakes for a second? Unless you're actually going to get a good talent like Soto back, don't go out and trade Johnny Cueto. What are we talking about? What is this?
Exactly, that's going to be our. Yo, Devontae, what's up, man? What's on the top of your mind, brother? Give it to me straight, brother.
This man has fallen off. He's fallen off the world and everybody's mind, and. Let's not forget, he was getting paid, $35 million for fucking 2 years at that, per year, to play for the Dodgers, and then all these crazy-ass YouTube allegations came at him, and he's no longer playing, but, Trevor Bauer's coming back next year, and I just hope he comes back, and he fucks up all of MLB, and he becomes Cy Young all over again. So that's really my hot take.
That was a spicy take, man. Trevor Bauer, I don't know, you're giving me the heebie-jeebies a little bit.
He might
what's up, Chris?
He might just grab your pussy.
What?
All right.
Wow.
Sorry, I started snorting and shit.
I was getting real hot and spicy.
Oh, man. Yo, what's up, Chris?
Back that up, Chris.
Yeah.
Pause.
So, I'm kind of a little disappointed, a little disappointed to see the Brewers not make the playoffs. It would be good to see, Corbin and Freddie, Peralta, Woodruff pitch, and, in meaningful games. The resurgence of Yelich we might have seen in the playoffs, we could have saw that. But I'm also excited. I read an article that the Nats they don't know what Steven Strasburg's doing next year. So, and then I read another article that the Red Sox don't know what Chris Sale is doing next year. So,
I don't know. I feel like they took their money and went on the same boat and they're just traveling right now. They're like, all right, we're gonna come back for this one game, and we're gonna get hurt, and we're just gonna leave with our money. Cause I don't understand. How do you not have a fucking update, man? Like, bro, it was like when these guys were asked a month ago, they were like, hey, what's Steven Strasburg been doing? He went on the IL. We haven't really heard much. They said he's doing absolutely nothing. And I was just like, does he like? Can he retire and give us the money? I feel he deserves the money, don't get me wrong, but I'm just at this point here where we go from one update saying we have nothing to another update that says 2023 is a mystery. Like, no one's even trying to understand the situation.
Dude, it's like they literally were here for a week in 2022, and that was it. Like, I don't even know if they're alive.
I don't know, man.
Someone check on them. Check their pulse.
No, Strasburg be in the dugout. He'd be there with the team every day. He just sits there looking miserable. He's sitting there looking miserable. I don't understand it.
You know who else
He's fucking doing the score.
Eduardo Rodriguez. Where the fuck is he?
Coach. Yeah.
The Tigers,
yeah. That's a great point too. He had that family leave or mental health leave, and he just left and never came back. I don't think he ever came back.
I know last year when he was playing for us, it was because
about that.
He had a rare heart condition, and then he came back halfway through the year, and still sucked. But that's beside the point.
All right. So the Brewers, they missed the playoffs. Brewers missed the playoffs. It also brings the question, for me anyway, is teams like the White Sox, teams like the Brewers, a lot of free agents for the Brewers this year coming up. I mean, decent players like Peterson, but you also have above average players hitting the market. So it's to me, what do you do next? Do you try to make a free agency run, or do you trade away your aces for a lot of prospects and rebuild? Where are you at if you're the Brewers GM?
Take it away, Wolf. Lead us to the promised land, brother.
I had to look up their free agents as well to see that. At this point, I was gonna say no, but then looking at teams around them, Pirates, Cubs, Cincinnati, are they really gonna build that quick, that fast? The Cardinals, they actually do lose some players like Yadier, Wainwright. It's you take a look also at other teams in both divisions. They've actually just missed out. What was it, a game and a half in the playoffs? So, if anything, I would build on now while you can. Even if the free agent market isn't great, you just missed out on the division. You just missed out on the wild card. You're not that far away. Just go get it while it's hot. I'm tired of teams sitting back and unless how Saxby's opening take was the Nationals. If you're that far behind and you have the rookies you're building on, okay, but they have good enough players and a great staff that we have all been talking about pretty much every episode that get a couple bats and get that division, man.
I'm gonna disagree. I think it's time to just fucking stick a fork in it. It's kind of what Chris said about the Royals recently, where they played it really smart, seeing a weak division and not trying to, kind of go all in for it and everything. I mean, granted, the White Sox were supposed to be, again, one of the best teams in the whole MLB, and they just happened to be one of the worst. But with the Brewers, I don't know. I just don't think it's a winning formula right now, sadly, unfortunately. I think especially after giving away Hader, you're giving kind of some of the identity away, which, did they need Hader? Did they not need Hader? Who knows? I mean, only time's going to tell. I think everyone goes to the Padres and sucks unless they're Manny Machado. But I would go and destroy people in a Corbin Burns trade. I would destroy people in a Freddie Peralta trade. I would destroy people in a Woodruff trade. I just think they took a big shot at Christian Yelich for him not to be the man that he was supposed to be before the contract. So for me, I honestly stick a fork in it. I don't care what the rest of the division does, because at the end of the day, you're going to win this weak division and then you're going to be kind of like the Guardians. Yeah, we won the weak division, but, we still got the Yankees and the Astros, so is it really worth it? Is it not? Time can only tell. That'll be the thing with the Brewers. You're going to have the Braves, you're going to have the Dodgers, and oh, look, the Mets are spending money like wild rabid dogs, so you got 3 teams now. You got 3 teams. Can you beat them if you continue on? I don't think they can. I mean, yes, like I have always told you guys, that they have the top 3 in the rotation to go out and win any first matchup series, but you're not going to be facing any of the 2 best teams in the league in a 3-game series, so yeah.
Just quick, you bring up a good point too with Yelich. Imagine that team with Yelich playing the way he was supposed to. I mean, even we're not going to talk about
Their top team
now, but Yelich, like that's crazy that they lost out on that. So
Their top team.
that's a good point that you brought it up.
They definitely did lose out on that. But I feel with Yelich, even though he's shown the last 3 years quite of a downfall from the superstar he was, I still feel like he's still transitioning from the surgeries he's been, having to deal with and having to work around, not trying to burn himself out from beginning to end, and understanding how to play in a matter of a way he's never played before. So it's still like checks and balances for him. If he doesn't play up to his potential next year, then you gotta let him go. I'm lefty love all day, so I just feel like next year is the year for him. But it's only just about a few minor tweaks that they could just fix to the team, and they'll be able to contend like they've been contending over the last couple of years. They have good pitchers all around. Not the best, don't get me wrong, but like, look what the Giants did last year. The Giants went on a fucking tear last year. Nobody would have ever guessed that ever. And that's how I feel about the Brewers.
They've been good.
What are you giggling about?
I just thought about something that Devontae just sparked in my mind about next year. If this shift is gone and Yelich can play against the shift, like you're actually looking at like almost like an idea to build on the Brewers again. Like a guy like Bellinger too, that we just quick said, like almost all of a sudden, like this is a game changer. Like I'm not against the Brewers not building, like you said, like as if it didn't work, but I would go for them building, knowing that maybe like a guy like Bellinger actually might benefit next year.
I don't know. I just think they never had their pieces all together at the right time. Like,
literally,
they had Christian Yelich hot, but they didn't have the rest of the roster really up to where it needed to be to match that. Now they got the pitching in the right situation, but they have the hitting nowhere needs to where it needs to be. I think you trade these guys, especially those first 3 in the rotation. You trade Devin Williams. I don't even know who takes Yelich. You might have to just keep him around just for the fucking LOLs. But
the Yankees would take
those
him.
guys alone can rebuild your entire staff, because those 3 starting pitchers finish out any rotation and make whatever rotation they join immediately one of the best. So
I'm still a little bit confused about.
I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that roster though. Like, to be honest with you,
it's so weird.
Like, even though they're playing well, like Tellez and Renfroe, like I know they have like almost 30, 40 home runs, some of them, but like I just don't like that roster. It's such a weird team.
Trade them while the iron's hot.
That roster looks like a team you put together when you first start, like MLB Diamond Dynasty, when MLB The Show just comes
After
out.
You trade everybody.
Yeah, like
it's just like a 20-pack opening, and literally get like a couple, like 81 golds. That's good actually. But yeah, Chris.
I was actually going to say that I would trade away the team, but then I'm also considering the fact that the Cardinals are losing people next year. We all know that, so you have that factor. There also what also rung to my mind was when Wulfy said a couple weeks ago that the Brewers were like top 5 in home runs, so we know they can hit home runs. So that's kind of like a building piece. But imagine a guy like Sandar going there who hits the ball really well, and like, I mean, I would fucking hate it, but a guy like him makes sense if they're willing to pay. I think he would make sense there. But also you have like Chicago, you have the Pirates, and you have the Reds. So like if you're playing to win the division,
Pirates gonna be spooky
I feel like
next year.
They have a Pirates gonna be spooky.
Imagine Judge goes to the Pirates.
Imagine
Pirates, I
Judge
know-
goes to
Does
the
the
Brewers.
Pirates.
Dude, Pirates NL Central champs next year. Arg. Book it.
Oh man.
I would like to see that.
Yeah.
I think we should
Look
go
at
to a
man.
I actually
Milwaukee
like that
Brewers
point,
game
too.
next year.
They got a ton of talent,
What
and
are they-
if it's going to be a weak division, I could see them going on one of those, like, you know, Cinderella runs where they win the division, lose in the playoffs immediately. But
Yo,
Yeah.
if we go to a
I mean-
Milwaukee Brewers game next year, I will make a video of my big ass going down that slide, and we could like add it to the podcast, stream, do something that day.
get kicked out.
Right.
Fuck it, I'll go down the slide with you.
We're gonna be smacked as
But-
fuck.
Yeah, Chris, that's a good point too, because about the home runs, because like I looked at their roster too, like it's not overly exciting, but the guys that did home runs really stood out, and they do have Willie Adames too, who's a good rookie.
Kids is that.
Plus, we talked about the shift not being
It's a
there.
family.
But if they were
friendly
like,
country.
a couple like if they spent well and just added some decent slap bats and like a couple guys in the bullpen, like their bullpen's not bad and their rotation's already good. Like I say, like go for it. Like who's really like are the Cubs, Cincinnati, and Pirates going to be that much better? Like
Well, that's the
it's almost
thing.
like
The
there's no
Brewers
reason to
don't.
like pump the brakes.
Brewers don't have that money. That's also another point that we got to
You know who
consider.
they-
All their money is being tied into who they have right now. So it's like
I'm curious, what's their payroll?
They could probably get
Right.
someone cheap like Eric Hosmer if he decides not to sign. I mean, doesn't. Just
But
random.
is Eric
Well, he's
Hosmer
gotta-
getting them to the next level? Because like I said, I mean, the way these teams
small
probably
market
see
guy.
it, that's fair. Small market team, small market guy. Yeah.
Did he get a home run
But
for
like
us this year?
my thing is like, you know, the Brewers window is very short right now. I believe it's 1 to 2 years if they do keep trying to compete. Reason being is because I think the Pirates are building something nice. The Cardinals have a lot of nice players that are going to come up to replace all the old people that are leaving. So honestly, I could still see the Cardinals taking the division next year or the next. They'll be right back to it once they get their identity back. But for the Brewers, it's like, is it worth bringing this same team into it next year with just the little bit of minor upgrades that they can make with the money that they have when they're just going to get destroyed by Atlanta? Like, Atlanta is going to be a team that we talk about like we did them in the 90s. They're going to win one World Series, which was last year, and then they're going to win a bunch of divisions but lose in the playoffs, hoping. But them and the Dodgers, do you really think the Brewers can compete with them if they just make a little bit of tweaks?
I feel like though, like if you look at like the division, like the NL East, if you were Miami, where you were the fourth place team and you were out of it, I wouldn't jump the gun. But if you're spending like 100, I just looked it up, like it's about 137, 140 mil next year. So if you spend like, wisely and add the pieces that you need, I mean, you only missed it by like a couple games. Like I would say, just build on it now, and like, who knows? Like they were good in the beginning of the year. The Cardinals just got better because they have frickin' the MVP. But I would just say, like, go for it. Like, you got the home runs, just add some slap hitters, add some bullpen, and
That's the thing. Like
good
they
to
got
go.
the pitching.
Dude, they
got
actually
the
have
home
some young
runs, so
pitching,
what
too.
do you really
That's
add
why-
to a team that has all the home runs and has all the pitching? It's like at this point, it's like how
The-
the fuck do we win?
No, you know what you should do? You got to get rid of, like, old guys like McCutcheon and Colton Wong. Like, Colton Wong's
Free
not
agent.
bad. Like, just get, like
Club
I mean,
option.
Jeff McNeil obviously, isn't a free agent, but I'm saying get like a scrap hitter like that. Like get someone that's a leadoff hitter like a Nimmo.
That's fair.
Nimmo's actually a free agent, dude. He would fit great in the Brewers. I hate to say it. That's actually
That's-
there you go. Dude, Nimmo would be perfect for them. That's someone that actually would make that team better.
That's the thing about it also is those guys are free agents. It's Wong has a option. It's a club option. McCutcheon, Taylor Rogers, Omar Narvaez, Rosenthal, Jace Peterson, and Perdomo. Those dudes are all free agents this year. So like, you got. I mean, obviously none of those dudes command a huge contract, but there is veterans out there who make more sense.
Damn, boys, I hate to say it right now, but if the Mets for some reason don't sign Nimmo, I'm gonna call it he's gonna be a Brewer. It just makes so much sense now that I said that out loud. Like, I swear to God, like, especially with no shift too, like,
He's gonna be a.
I don't think they.
Texas
Who's their
Ranger.
center fielder right now? Like, who's even most of, like, their main center fielder right now? Is it? It's not
Renfroe?
Renfroe, is it? Tyrone Taylor. That's who it's been. Lorenzo Cain was there in the beginning of the year. Yeah, they don't really have a center fielder.
They let
Yep,
you know what, they're a classy
I just
organization because they let Lorenzo Cain. They had no plans for him this year, but they let him get to the 10-year service mark so that he can get I believe like benefits and pension and stuff like that. Because I believe you don't get pension as an MLB player until you reach the 10-year mark.
Did he like retire or did he just get like released? I'm
No, he got released, and then I think he was like dealing with a whole bunch of minor injuries, so he didn't sign with anybody.
Oh, okay. You think like anybody, but yeah, okay, that makes sense.
I think he'll get signed next year because he's a good leader. If there is anything, Lorenzo Cain is definitely a good leader. I mean, obviously, I don't want him starting every day, but definitely a good leader to have in the clubhouse. So, speaking of, him, let's switch it to Aaron Judge, who has no relation to anything that we were just talking about, but I'm going to make a bridge to it anyway. Wolf, Aaron Judge finally breaks the record. I feel like we were waiting forever for this guy to get 62. Honestly, I was honestly wondering if he'd even get it.
Same.
But he gets number 62. He gets the AL home run record. To a lot of people, he got the actual home run record. What's your final opinion? We can finally wrap up this whole Aaron Judge record stuff. Finally.
I'm like stoked actually to where I was at the gas station today and I made sure I picked this up. It's the official stay newspaper for Aaron Judge.
There you go. That's dope.
So, a little piece of history, keeping that with me. You know what it is, too? AL record, Yankee record, plus contract year. I mean, dude, like, you literally couldn't know. You just basically won the lottery. And you're going to probably win the MVP, too. Like, what a terrific year for him. We all, like, pretty much see. You guys are Boston fans, and you always give nods to Aaron Judge. Like, what a likable player, and the fact that now he's just, like, etched his name in history is so great. Like, I'm F for him. Like, I was so great to see him do it. We all kind of, like, never seemed to doubt him, even during those stretches where it was, like, 10, 11 games, not really doing too much. But he finally did it, beat guys that are literally in a franchise that's been around for 100+ years. Good for Aaron Judge. Like, I'm stoked, and I feel like we all knew the whole time he was going to do it.
So yeah, I mean, of course I agree. I mean, I've been ranting about Aaron Judge since episode 1 of this podcast. Good to see. It's definitely good to see a record like this being broken in my day and age. I thought, we got to see Pujols get 700. We got to see Miggy get a couple of really good milestones within the last calendar year. I'm glad to have been a witness to all of it. For Aaron Judge, like you said, Wulfy, to be on the Yankees, to not only be on the Yankees, but be the only good player for a while on the Yankees, carry your whole team to where you carried it in a contract year, 30, so it's a weird contract year, like you're entering free agency at age 30. All the odds stacked against him, he came out and had a year like this. Personally, I would give the co-MVP to Shohei and Judge. I'm kind of on that train right now. We could definitely talk about it some other time. But I don't know. Shohei is wild. Judge is wild. We got treated to a really good year of baseball. One thing I'll say, though, is I really wish people would stop discrediting this because I think people kind of misconvey the point. If people want to say Aaron Judge is the home run king, I mean, there's an asterisk next to the guys in front of him for a reason. Again, I fully support, steroid users, but they're always going to have that asterisk in front of them. So it is a big deal. It is a big deal that Aaron Judge is the first clean. I only put parentheses because we don't know what goes on behind the scenes. But I just think, yeah, I mean, I just wish people would stop discrediting it. Barry Bonds is the home run king, yes, but what this means to a lot of people in the actual sport of baseball is huge. So let's pass it off to the Red Sox guys.
So, I'm real happy for Aaron Judge and everything, but I'm going to let y'all finish. He's the 4th person to do it. Number 1 in the American League. But at the end of the day, hats off to him. I'm real happy for him. But he not getting the Triple Crown That makes me even more happy. Even though I wanted Xander to be the batting champion. Well, you can't have everything in life. Like, I'm sure that's how Aaron Judge is feeling right now. You can't have everything. But he got 62 home runs. He could go home tonight, celebrate that, and, pay the man. If not, I hope he walks. I hope he comes to the Red Sox. That'd be fucking crazy. If not, I would love to see him in Citi Field. Because why not?
Oh my god, don't get me excited.
That'd be fucking crazy.
Could be a Washington
That
National.
would make the Subway Series possibly even better than the fucking Yankees versus Red Sox series.
That would be one of the craziest stories if he just hopped over to the other team in New York. Oh
that
my
would be like crazier than that would be kind of like Babe Ruth leaving the Red Sox to go to the Yankees, in my opinion.
And and dude, actually that's a perfect example because especially the records he's broken too so far.
Exactly.
And dude, with Cohen in play now, I'm pretty sure the Mets are the betting favorite to get him.
Here's my issue with
they actually are
everything
number
that we're
one.
saying, right? Here's the issue with everything that we're saying. What kind of concerns me? I definitely think Aaron Judge is leaving, and the reason why is you're the fucking Yankees, man. You can more than afford this guy. This is what's starting to piss me off, is that you're legitimately the New York Yankees. When has it ever been a question for you to sign anybody? Why are we even sitting here talking about this?
Exactly.
They either know something that we don't know, or they're really being cheap for some fucking reason. I don't get it.
He's on steroids, but that's beside the point.
Yankees.
Let's not forget that he is the captain.
That's why he's been
When have they
miserable.
ever slacked on the captain?
The
It's
captain.
crazy.
Yep.
That's fucking
And what's
wild.
crazy too with Saxby is you brought it up quick with Barry Bonds, kind of like with the asterisk. But what's crazy with the 62 home runs? We're in like a dead ball apparently year
Word.
to where he almost has 20 more than everybody else. It's not like Sosa, McGuire, and Bonds kind of like duking it out, or even a couple of years ago where it was like 55 and 54 with Aaron Judge and Pete. We're talking about a guy that's got like in the 60s and doing it clean. Like
So far.
I know I'm not saying even if it was the record, even if he just hit 60 and didn't get the Yankee record,
Aaron-
I would still be impressed.
Aaron
Because,
Judge is 155 pounds without steroids. So he's I mean, like,
He would just be like Slender Man.
shout out to that dude. He hits the ball. He hit the ball better than anyone did.
I blame
this
it on
year.
the new teeth he got.
So, great for him. I'm just saying, if he really wants to shut up the critics, he can come to Boston next year and he can hit 75 home runs.
Facts.
So
Yo.
Yeah, lead off for us.
Let's
See, now,
see it.
that would be crazy too. Adding him to any team would just be mind blowing. Any kind of like
He's gonna go
contention
somewhere
team like that.
random, man. He's gonna go.
Imagine he
like-
goes to the fucking Dodgers.
San Fran.
Oh, dude, don't you say that. And what's crazy is I could see him.
I can
going
see
to,
it.
like,
Me
San
too.
Diego
Absolutely
Padres.
see
To me, that's the real evil empire.
Padres.
He's gonna go to the Cincinnati Reds.
The Brewers.
Oh,
The
God.
Cincinnati Reds.
Brewers. No, the Kansas City Royals.
Imagine.
That'd be
Stick 'em out
nice.
there.
That'd be a nice story.
The Angels. The
That
Angels.
would be nice. That'd be nice,
It'd be like a
Nice
box of
little
kittens.
farmhouse.
It'd be a feel good story. Like Judge gave the Kansas City Royals a chance, and then he'd get traded like mid season.
It's
Like-
Two places I would want to see him. I would want to see him. Well, three places. Red Sox, obviously. He would be great there. He'd probably win the MVP. He'd beat Shohei by like a mile if he was a Red Sox.
Facts.
I would say Seattle. I'd like to see him at Seattle,
I'd love
or
to
the
see him in
Angels.
Seattle.
The Angels with Shohei.
We're just gonna keep adding people to the Angels and just
Dude,
hope.
dude.
don't know how
Imagine
much-
that though. Imagine that. You had to go against
just-
Judge, Trout, and then Shohei. 1, 2, 3.
I
My
want to
thing
piggyback
is,
off
though,
that and
as-
say the Nationals with Juan Soto. Imagine that with Soto Toto. Oh my god.
Stop.
Dude, you know what's
Making him
crazy
run.
too that no one's talked about for some reason? Imagine if he went to the Braves. Oh my god.
I. Jesus.
You
You have to
Chris,
do
you
that,
you
Devontae.
there?
That would have been nuts. But like,
You
when it comes to the Angels, it's like
got
alone.
so
you
happy and sad at the same time.
like imagine how these statements like go in order, right? First, it was, "Yo, you guys had Mike Trout, Albert Pujols, and Josh Hamilton at the same time, and you didn't win." Okay.
Word.
You had
Josh
you
Hamilton.
you had Mike Trout. You had Mike Trout and you didn't win. Period. Like you just had Mike Trout and you didn't win. Okay,
Shohei.
but then we gave you the best baseball player to ever walk foot on the field, Shohei Ohtani,
Literally.
and you still have Mike Trout. Oh wait, you still didn't win. Let's give you Aaron Judge, and then it'd probably be that sentence would probably finish with, and you still didn't win.
And they don't even make the playoffs.
I don't know what you do at this
man.
point.
Exactly.
What do you do at this point if you're the Angels? I mean, obviously it's get pitching. I mean, I think that's obvious, but
Pitching.
they got to go get
DeGrom.
DeGrom. They got to throw the bag at
DeGrom.
DeGrom. Yeah.
DeGrom, yeah, that would be nice for them.
Crazy.
You
I mean,
tell
even
DeGrom.
like-
I would be like, I'm on the phone and I'm like, yo, Jacob, like, we'll let you have sex in the stadium. We'll give you free tickets for whoever the hell you want when you want it. If an opposing pitcher is coming and you don't want them to perform in front of fans, we'll tell nobody to show up. Whatever you want, we'll like
12%
massage
stake in
you.
the team.
Oh my God, no,
Oh, do we-
50% stake in the
massage-
team.
What kind of massages we talking? We talking like NFL massages like that?
No. We play it safe
Yo,
over
did
here
you guys-
in MLB.
Did you guys see?
Damn.
Did you guys see DeGrom's last outing against the Braves?
Yeah.
Where
He got
they were
rocked.
just like, they were all over his first pitch.
You know what it was? That's the thing my buddies were saying.
What was
because
it?
I actually agree with you, Chris, is that it wasn't bad. It was only 3 runs, 6 innings with like 10 strikeouts. The game before was 13. But it's just the fact that you're not supposed to be giving up 3 runs. You're supposed to be giving up 1 run.
Back-to-back home
Max.
runs at that.
To
So-
add on to that, every run he gave up was a pitch down the cow. You don't put it there, he doesn't give it up.
Now I'll say this: if all of them, yeah, whack! It's like fucking Batman.
Yeah, here,
Well,
let's see if you hit it.
So
Here,
you-
happy birthday.
Well,
Yeah.
my
Do
thing
you
with
back
DeGrom
out?
is like, yeah, like Wulfy, like you kind of said, it is a good start, but it gives the Braves confidence. Like if the Braves and the Mets meet in the playoffs, the Braves are gonna have all the confidence in the world that they can fucking hit off DeGrom now,
Oh,
and that's the
cool.
last thing you
Yeah.
need to give these
Yeah.
guys.
And not just the Braves, Dansby
True.
Swanson led the fucking group
True.
every fucking game.
And not even just DeGrom, but they hit off with Schwarzer too. So, and Bassett. So it's like who else?
Now,
Who
if
else you
you're
gonna send at
DeGrom-
him?
If you're DeGrom, do you keep your word and
Taijuan
do you
Walker.
opt out? Because he's going to opt out, apparently. Would you still opt out?
Ugh.
Say that again?
How much more are you getting? Because DeGrom said he's going to opt out this year. Because, we've talked about where he's going to go in free agency in other episodes, too. Do you still opt out if you, blow it in, the playoffs, too?
Absolutely not.
I honestly, I'm gonna be. I would rather have seeing how DeGrom doesn't stay healthy, and this dude can't pitch past the 6th inning. It seems like to me, I would rather go out and get Carlos Rodon rather than fucking DeGrom.
Wulfy, Carlos Rodon as a Met would be filthy.
Not only do I
Disgusting.
agree with that,
Standing
just
next
for
to
the
Max
fact of-
Scherzer.
Plus, we don't have a lefty, like a good true lefty other than Peterson.
Right.
Even just in the bullpen, to actually add him. And I know that one day we talked about him if I thought he was a true ace, but like you just said, next to Max Scherzer, you don't need him to be. The thing though is, I really hope they resign Bassett, but that's another rant.
He ended the
yeah.
year very strong. Very strong.
Yeah. Plus,
Devontae's
That's
thinking
nice
like Devontae's just sitting there in deep thought, like, damn, DeGrom to the Red Sox, crazy.
Yo, because I'm here like, where's he really gonna go, man? Like, we're gonna hear about the Yankees wanting to sign him, and I'm just here like
Seattle.
was there
Yo,
any
Seattle's
I'm
hype?
telling you.
crazy.
I'm telling you,
Was there much
Seattle's
hype?
Seattle
What's
gets
up,
2
Seattle?
stars this year. Seattle gets 2 stars this year, or this offseason.
If they get
Think
two
about the
starting
All-Star
pitchers-
games there. No, not starters. I mean, they get 2 stars. Like they get 2 very good
Oh,
players. I
thought you
think
said starters.
in the offseason. Like,
Was there
like I don't know.
anybody-
I feel like they pull off Xander. I don't know why, but I feel like because they have the All-Star game. Like, they're willing
Xander.
to pay people now. You know, with that big contract to Julio.
And what if you're sitting there as an MLB player in free agency, and especially why I'm not denying the Aaron Judge thing is how can you not sit there and just see the opportunity? The Mariners haven't won anything ever. If you're that big star player that's kind of trying to define your career, you look at the Mariners and they have a really solid foundation right now. I would want to go there. I would want to go there, and that would just boost my legacy. I mean, if Judge switches from the Yankees to the Mariners and then helps the Mariners charge to like their first World Series ever, whoever does that, whoever accomplishes that, whoever's like the sole guy, crazy.
They need to sign Ichiro.
It's got to be Judge. It's got to be Judge. Ichiro, Ken Griffey, Judge.
Dude, have both of those guys like sit down at a dinner table with Judge and just tell him it's all work.
And A-Rod, let's not forget A-Rod.
Just- You could be a legacy.
That'd be
there.
fucking wild.
And you,
Well, fuck
You know
A-Rod.
what's wow, because you guys can bring the Bogarts too. Yeah, fuck A-Rod.
I love A-Rod.
Same.
With Bogarts,
Great player, but
Judge, and DeGrom, those three alone, I feel like are more exciting than anybody that's been traded or was signed this last offseason. The last offseason wasn't like that great. It was
Well,
like I know Seager and
Yeah, it was kind
Simeon
of boring.
and Robbie Ray, but like
What the fuck
I
did they
think they're
do
building
this year?
something
three
cool out there in
guys-
Texas, though.
What the fuck did all those three players do?
I agree.
the only
Well,
guy maybe
Simeon had a very
Correa-
underrated like comeback this year. Seager, he did okay throughout the whole year. But Texas, they make a couple more moves. I can see them. I can see them fighting it out with
That was a
these-
$500
yeah.
million deal that didn't really,
Oh,
you know?
Scherzer too, I guess, was kind of, but like these guys though, DeGrom, Judge, Bogarts, oh my gosh, there's gonna be so many more.
J.D.
exciting games here.
Martinez.
So what we're gonna do, what we're gonna do is we're gonna come at you with some playoff action. So we're gonna start off at the top, the American League. Obviously, these two teams aren't in the playoffs, but we got to talk about them. Or well, no, they are in the playoffs. Sorry, these two teams are in the playoffs. We got to talk about them. They're just not in the first round. So the Astros and the Yankees. Chris, why don't you lead off? Opinion on both. Who's better?
Opinion on both, I would say hands down the Astros are better. The reason why, because they were more consistent this year. Yes, the Yankees got out to a huge lead over everybody in the AL, but slowed down, started to collapse just as they always do. Again, not the '90s Yankees, but I think overall the pitching is so much more reliable. You have Verlander just diced up 10 Ks in 5 innings. He had 8 Ks with 46 pitches through 3. Like, dude could have probably went 8 innings that fucking game if he wanted to.
He would have thrown you a no-hitter.
6-0 or 8-0. Exactly. He was like 6-0 over the Phillies because they weren't really playing anyone. He was just fucking dicing up the JV squad. Valdez, he's going to give you a quality start, guaranteed pretty much 25 out of how many starts? 29. So you have that, and then you also have Javier. So I think against the Yankees, if they played side by side, I don't really trust. I don't really trust the Yankees. I think the Astros have more solid experience. They also have a better, more consistent lineup. You know who I haven't seen this year? Is Brantley. I think he's not even missed this year because you have dudes like Jordan just hitting out of control. So I think the Astros are hand down better. Plus, fuck the Yankees.
Honestly.
No, I agree with that, Chris. And it was funny when we were talking about other teams in the playoffs with home runs like the Brewers, or excuse me, not in the playoffs, like the Brewers. I had to take a look at the Astros, and I'm like, where are they on this list? They don't have a lot of guys that are overpowering this year, like a Judge, but they have a lot of scrappy players like Altuve, Tucker. Even on their bench is technically Mancini for DH. They all are hitting around 20 home runs, which is why I brought up the Brewers. Like, they have guys that aren't overpowering, but everybody's kind of doing it. And when you take a look at the Yankees, like, am I going to take like a Josh Donaldson, like a streaky Gleyber Torres over a Bregman, even though if they're not hitting 290 this year? No. Plus Altuve in the playoffs, great.
I was just gonna speak.
But
on
you brought
that
up
too.
pitching. Pitching wins playoffs. Their bullpen's one of the top in the league. So while these guys might not be overpowering this year, like this guy's hitting 38 home runs with 128 RBIs, everybody's doing it. They have like 3 guys on their bench that have like almost 20 home runs. Like they're so spread out, like a Brewers team that have that home run pop, but way better contact and way better pitching. So I think comparing them to the Yankees when they only have that one star and Nestor Cortez, like
Nestor the
no way.
molester.
You know what else the Astros did is during the trade deadline they brought in vets like Mancini, right? And they also brought in a champion, Vasquez. So remember that he's a champion catcher.
He is. He has the experience, but he hasn't really been the same since he got traded.
He's still
Even though
a
he sucks, they
champion.
also brought
I look so shot up putting these glasses back on.
He's still a champion.
So to piggyback
He's been there.
off on Wolf, like I'm not the guy to say history repeats itself, but time after time after time, seeing the Yankees and the Astros go at it since 17, cheating or not, come on now, it has repeated itself over and over and over. And just when you think the Yankees have it, Jose Altuve is like, fuck yeah, I'm here. I'm 2 feet tall and none of y'all can fucking stop me. Whether it's Aroldis Chapman, I'll send you right back to Cuba. But like, that team is here to stay without Carrera and damn, I just had somebody
Springer.
else. Yes, Springer. That's who I was just forgetting. Like, if anything, they're doing better without them, which is fucking mind-boggling to me. And
Yeah.
like they play a certain crazy ball, throughout the whole season, and then in the playoffs, it seems like they're a whole different breed. They come and they play harder, they play rougher, and they really take advantage of every little thing, small ball at the end of the day, too, at that. So, even when you saw them play this season in the Bronx against the Yankees, the Yankees had the lead at one point, and then they came back little by little by little, and then they were just shutting them down. And now you have fucking Verlander, who pretty much, he was throwing a no-hitter, and then they pulled him out. Obvious reason, they want to save him, and he's old, and God forbid he farts and pulls his hamstring. They don't need that, but,
Yeah,
Just
man.
had Tommy John in his late 30s and he's still pitching well.
literally,
So
the guy could stretch wrong, and he's out for the season. No,
my opinion, the Astros, they're a freakishly nasty deep team. Obviously, as stated by all you guys, their pitching is ridiculous. Their hitting is ridiculous. Their
They live
bullpen
for the
is ridiculous. The Yankees, it's Aaron Judge and Aaron Judge and Aaron Judge. So it's a lot to depend on one guy. But my intuition. The Astros will not make the World Series. I don't know who does, but it's not going to be the Astros. There's just
shameful.
I have no reasoning for it, so don't ask me for it. I don't have no statistics or anything to back this up besides Justin Verlander is a completely different human being in the playoffs. We can't forget about that. Again, I don't know who beats them to get to the World Series. That you're gonna have to add God. That you're gonna have to ask him that question, God, because I don't know the answer. But
I know exactly who.
Oh,
The Tampa Bay Rays. Watch, out of all this, the Tampa Bay
fuck
fucking
out of
Rays
here.
was
Not the
the
Tampa
worst.
Rays.
No.
The one team we haven't talked
So
about all year,
shut
we
up.
talked about Jays and Mariners and
The
Yankees.
Mets have a better chance than the Rays.
Dude, if the yeah, which is sad. But the Rays, watch, out of all the whole year, they're the fucking ones.
You could have said Terry Francona.
so
and the Guardians, and I would've
speaking of the
believed
Rays, then Wolf, why don't you get us going? Guardians versus the Rays. What's your opinion on these teams, and what's your prediction for the series? I was supposed to go to Chris. My bad.
As much as I just hyped up the Rays, it's not the Rays. it's Terry Francona and the Guardians. Chris got me so on the bandwagon this year. I started paying so much more attention to them. They have some good, we just said it pretty much every other team we've brought up. Scrappy players, Ahmed Rosario, Jimenez. They stole of a contract of Jose Ramirez. Pitching staff is decent. Bullpen's, not the top in the league. Actually, no, I think they're in the top 8, up there, which is good enough for the playoffs. They have that underdog mentality, too, playing well at the end of the year, which is just what you need, to where if you just said the Astros aren't going to get into the World Series, if they could just beat that first round and get that momentum with with a manager that's actually been there before, I actually think they could be a team that would just not only smack the Rays. I mean, they're way better than the Rays. I know there's conversations about the Rays, but I think they can even get farther than that.
All right. What's up, Chris?
All right, that's pretty fair. I mean, you guys already know where I stand with the Guardians. I'm just gonna reference back 2 months ago. Was the only one who picked the Guardians. We'll give Devontae a little bit of leeway because he wasn't here at the time, so he didn't have a choice. He didn't pick with us, but when you guys all picked the Twins, picked the White Sox, so I think the Guardians win the first 2 games very easily. I say this because I really think Bieber comes out and just pitches very well. I think Jose Ramirez comes up big. I think who else is gonna come up big this playoff run for the Guardians is Oscar Gonzalez. Oscar Gonzalez. I think
Oscar Gonzalez.
with the apple out of nowhere.
I'm feeling like Carlito, very cool.
He's a rookie. I think he's gonna have a big playoff, and I think McKenzie's gonna come out and shine. And I'm sticking with my guys. Red Sox are out. I'm all Guardians. Terry Francona to the World Series 2022.
Bring it home.
That would be so wild.
I wanted to actually follow up on the previous discussion and say, Yankees versus Mets, only because I've never gotten to see it. And this is probably like my second or third time speaking about it on the last couple podcasts. But, I was like 3 years old. That'd be dope to see. And, the Mets have the advantage because they have a better record than the Yankees. So, why the fuck not? But, touching base on the Guardians versus the Rays. Whew, with the Red Sox having just beat them, I don't see the Rays really getting by against the Guardians. And at that, they got to play against the Rays last week, if I'm not mistaken, when it really mattered because they were still trying to play for their spot and whatnot. They lost 2 out of the 3. But, you have a Wander Franco who is fucking raking right now. The kid is batting .353 in his last 15 games. Rosa Reina's ass.
He's so good.
Rosa Reina, his last 7 games is at a .37. Goodness gracious, like bench him. He was their Lord and Savior. But let's not forget he's a monster in the playoffs. Like, I don't care how bad he is in the season. In the playoffs he comes and it's just like he's Barry Bonds all of a sudden. And you have Yandy Diaz too, who's carrying the freight, batting .370 in the last 15 games. Like, how's that even possible, bro? So, if you avoid,
it's gonna be such a good playoffs.
If you avoid pitching to these guys, you're gonna have a good chance. You got Ahmed too from the Guardians, who's been a problem, batting .305, and a couple game winners for the Guardians. So, he's leading the freight with DR and Jose. Jose's he's struggling at the moment, but I really think he's gonna show up, like I've been talking about the last couple as well. And who you think is gonna be the first round, like first game pitchers for them? Shane Bieber versus Glasnow. I like Glasnow, but
McClanahan.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought it was Bieber versus
Yeah,
Glasnow.
I guess they would go. They probably would. Oh, actually, didn't they say it was Bieber already? They actually brought that up, right?
Bieber McClanahan.
Like, that's actually like confirmed, and it's like Wheeler
Confirmed.
and someone else too.
Green
Wheeler,
check
Wainwright,
mark.
I think it was.
Locked in.
So,
Yep.
for me, I'm so in the middle between the two teams. I don't know. While, yes, the Rays are coming in here on a wicked losing streak, they fell all the way to the last wild card spot. If there was probably more time in the season, they probably get caught by the Orioles. But the Indians, they got a team that you just didn't want to see in the first round coming in on a losing streak, coming in and being the Tampa Bay Rays in general. So I'm gonna have to go with the Guardians, but it's the Rays. Like it's like Devontae said. It's just they're so random. They always choose to randomly be good, and this just seems like the perfect year to just ruin a whole bunch of matchups. It's just the Tampa Bay Rays thing to do is just ruin a lot of people's lives. Like their fans hate their lives. There's been some good playoff matchups we've missed because they've randomly been there. I just wish they'd go away at this point, but they're here. They exist.
True.
We have to acknowledge that. So I'm gonna go with the Guardians, but I don't know. I'm not gonna be a flip flop here. I'm just gonna go with the Guardians, and we're gonna move on.
I think the thing that the Guardians have is they're young. Nobody is giving them a chance. It's Terry Francona.
Oh. Terry Francona, that's all that matters. 2004.
Terry
if he was there
Francona,
to witness greatness,
No
then
expectations of winning. Who knows what happens? That's all I'm gonna say.
I'm just saying, like, I would give that guy a hug. I would run out onto the field just so I could give that guy a hug.
I'm gonna throw $20. I'm gonna throw $20 on the Guardians to win the World Series right now, just in case. Just because.
Just in case.
Well, the odds are low.
I bet you the odds are fucking.
Or high.
So, Chris,
Or
while
high,
you're placing that bet, lead us into the Mariners versus the Blue Jays.
All right,
This
Mariners,
here,
Blue
this is a
Jays.
spicy series. This series right
This-
here for me is a spicy series.
I love the bats in this series. I think it was great to see Julio come back healthy. Haniger came back; he's healthy. And then you have the Blue Jays who heated up towards the end of the year. You have Manoah versus Luis Castillo first game. I think second game you see Gosman versus
Would it be Ray? Or would it be like,
Robbie Ray. No, I don't
Would
think
it
you
be
pitch
Kirby
Kirby.
or
I think you
Gilbert?
pitch Kirby third, or I think you pitch Kirby third,
Definitely
or
third.
yeah, he's a rookie. You let him.
I'm
the
saying it would probably be Ray
guys with
then
more
the second
experience.
game, right?
Yeah, and I think more so you're gonna see high offense. You're gonna see some fucking great late game hitting by Vladdy, by Julio. I think those two come alive this series. I think also
Yeah.
other dudes that come alive are like George Springer, who has experience. You see, Bo Bichette. It's just gonna be a lot of bats, a lot of offense. I think each game is gonna hit the over. I think, maybe not the first game because those guys can go the distance, but I think after that, when we get into Game 3 is gonna be a slugfest. I'm gonna pick the Mariners.
Same.
Yo, to be honest, like when you bring up all those names, that series is going to be so crazy. We had talked about it weeks ago, which team would be better, and even right now, it's almost hard for me to pick that winner. I think it's going to be whoever might have the home field advantage because guys like Bo Bichette are playing so hot right now. I think I actually originally picked the Mariners because they do have really good pitching, but considering we're not talking about like 5 or 7 game series, I think it's going to come down to like a slugfest, like you said. And if Vladdy's hot, Bo's hot, Teoscar's hot, they have Matt Chapman now too. I love Julio, but he is still a rookie. And looking at that lineup, I mean, Gosman and Manoah, that's going to be hard to beat if you're just going 1-2. Like I said, not a full series. I actually think Toronto might win this, which is crazy because I'm on the Seattle bandwagon and I want them to win, but there's just something about Toronto. I think their bats are just going to be scorching. I think Bo Bichette is just going to go off. I think Julio is going to go off too, but like Bo Bichette, freaking Vlad, like Springer, like how are they not going to win?
You know who comes up big? Raleigh.
Kyle Riley. Yeah.
Kyle, yeah.
Yeah,
How do you say his last name?
Raleigh, I think.
Raleigh.
English
Riley.
malfunction. Like Raleigh, North
Raleigh.
Carolina, right? Raleigh.
Yeah, like Raleigh. Yeah.
I think
Raleigh.
he comes up big. Mark it down.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, Devontae,
I mean,
what you
they have scrappy bats.
Well,
you got?
I
What you got
think
in this
it's
series?
gonna be a slobber knocker from the first game to the last game, and if they get through 3 games at the, it's a must watch in my opinion. And having seen that the Mariners have the most comeback wins this year, it's giving me 2013 vibes of the Red Sox, and how the beard and the beers went all the way, and nobody would have ever expected that team to put up such a historical run, and at that in the playoffs, to see what they did was, you saw what they did to Justin Verlander and the Detroit Tigers. You saw what they did to Torrey Hunter, and they put him in a body bag in the outfield. That was fucking crazy, yo. Like, ooh, love to see it. Aside from that, Toronto has a better record away than they do home, and it's not even that much of a big difference. It's only a matter of 5 to 6 games, but that still plays,
It's so surprising, actually.
I was surprised about that, looking that up. Ross Stripling the last couple games has, been going crazy for them. He's 6-1 with a 2.69 ERA, and average against his opponents are 2.21. So, if he continues to ball out the way he is, that's a big factor against anybody. But
This is hard.
Be good coming out of the bullpen.
The Blue Jays
This is so hard.
would have to limit and hope and pray for the best for Barrios to do something, because this is the worst year I've ever seen that kid play. Dude had a 5.4 something ERA, and who's gonna want to start him in any of those 3 games? I hope he comes out of the pen and just is pitching what's this lefty? What's this lefty from the Rays that went to San Diego? Snell? Boom.
Snell.
Having a performance.
But Patrick Corbin's a good one, too.
I was going to say that too, but I was I don't know too much about Patrick Corbin.
This is hard. Going last in this specific series is hard for me, because, as you guys know, I've been on this Julio Rodriguez bandwagon.
Same.
I've been on this, kind of I want to see the Mariners be successful. One thing that's going to be against the Blue Jays is that obviously the Mariners have the most comeback wins, and the Jays don't have. I think they have the worst bullpen in the AL, from the AL side of things. So that doesn't play well into their favor. However, on the other end, the Mariners' offense, I don't think they're going to be able to pull what they pulled all season against a team like Toronto. I think, like you guys said, Toronto's going to hit their pitching hard. Toronto has home field for all 3 games. So I think without Seattle's crowd being there, I think it'll be very deflating for them. Not saying the Mariners have absolutely no shot, but I just think there's just way too much against them. I think Manoah and Gosman come out and pitch super stellar games 1 and 2. I don't even think this will get to a 3, and it's sad. But then at the same time, it's the Seattle Mariners. They've been doofully winning a lot of games this year. And, Julio Rodriguez has been defying a lot of odds as a rookie. So anything can happen, but I think I'm going to go with Toronto, especially because I personally would like to see Toronto go forward too, because I think they're the one team that can give a team like the Astros or the Yankees a real run for their money in a full game set, in a full series set.
Did you know that Papa Julio is batting .429 in the last 15 games to close out the season, has 24 hits and 56 at-bats, and is slugging .768? That's fucking wild.
Dude, he came back yesterday and had 2 doubles or something crazy.
And hit a bomb today.
He's hitting the ball.
I'm calling it. He's going to hit a home run, and he's going to steal a couple bases. I hope he hits 2 home runs and steals fucking 5 bases for all we know. But also another underdog I forgot to speak about is Justice Sheffield. He has a lot to show, and I think, he's going to be able to come through for Seattle. And you got Luis Castillo, too, that I feel like, You know, he's
Yeah,
not
you're
really.
gonna be going
He's not
from
the talk of the
Castillo
town.
to
but-
Robbie Ray to most likely either Kirby or Logan Gilbert. Don't forget about Logan Gilbert.
And
Signed
Brash.
candidate first
What's
half of the year.
Brash, something Brash, what's his name?
Out the bullpen.
I always get Kirby and Gilbert mixed up,
Need him
by the
for
way.
2
So that's what I
innings.
was saying before with that.
So, all right. So first, before we continue on to the National League side of things, Chris Devontae, there was someone on TikTok. Hold on, I gotta pull this up real quick.
Oh man.
Someone responded to you guys on TikTok, right? So I had put up. There was a Red Sox fan checkup. That's when Chris kind of went on a little tangent about the Red Sox and how brokenhearted he was, and that he felt like a Mets fan. Someone in the comments said, "Sox fans are so clueless. This is the real SKYWI, the real SKWI, the real squee." It's crazy. But he said, "Sox fans are so clueless. You guys need pitching. Offense was not the problem, fellas."
It wasn't. We were
What do you
number
guys
one
have
in
to say to
baseball.
that?
We all knew we needed pitching.
You know who's the
We didn't
problem?
have a bullpen. We went out and signed fucking Trevor Story. Like that made
Oh,
no
yeah.
sense. I wasn't a big fan of that.
Same.
Like you did nothing. You didn't go out and get a fucking closer. You didn't go out and get a starting pitcher. You knew you had questions. He fucking sucked this year, but you let Eduardo leave. Like
I'm glad they let him leave. I'm not gonna
They're
lie
not
to you. He was
spending money.
fucking ass.
he was ass. He was definitely ass. But I'm saying, my point is, they didn't do anything to replace him. Like they didn't
I get
fucking
that.
go out and get.
We had to let him go
went out and
because
got fucking Trevor Story.
I could not stand seeing Eduardo going against the Yankees again and just giving up 5 home runs in the first inning. Like, I'm just tired of that shit. Like, it seemed like an automatic win for the Yankees. Like, let's just put him there so he could give the Yankees a win. No, fuck them. Let's sweep them all the time.
I always thought Eduardo Rodriguez was gonna fucking turn out to be an ace.
Same.
Probably if 4 years ago, I would always be like, if you asked me in the offseason, like he's gonna be an ace this year. Like this is the year. Like he's gonna be really good.
That's how I felt about Eric Fetty.
He didn't have.
What happened
He
to,
didn't have the
Dave-
worst year last year.
Still
He had a
helped us
pretty good year, but it wasn't good enough. You know, like I think he racked up
and I
his
mean, the
most
year
wins.
before that, he had 200. Yeah, and then the year before that, he had over 200 strikeouts.
Mhm.
So, like, he just gives up. You know what he's gonna give you, but the point, like, we all know they didn't have pitching. Like, that was the bigger problem. But the offense, the problem with the offense was they fucking, you didn't go out and get a fucking outfielder. You still haven't. I don't know.
Where we
The
traded
season's
fucking
over.
Renfro for Jackie
Like-
Bradley.
like-
Like, what the fuck is wrong with these guys, yo?
Right? Right?
Like, don't
Like-
get me wrong, JB Jesus is that man.
we didn't
God
need,
bless
we didn't
him.
need
but
fucking, like,
What is with you guys and Jackie Bradley Jr.? Like that team just
He can't
get rid of
hit.
him.
honestly,
I'm
Yeah,
saying
I
they just
like,
can't get rid of
he
him.
he was a monster defensively. Like, oh my god, but bro,
yeah.
we need you to hit more than
That's-
anything. Like,
We didn't need him to come back and fucking play defense. Like,
Right.
this is an offense first league now. Like, you're okay with giving up a base hit because the dude hitting second for you could have a walked guy on and you could hit a fucking 2-run home run. Like, the problem is we didn't fucking have anybody to lock those dudes down after the
Right.
starters, and we also, I mean, we'll see what they do this offseason because I don't know. Do you want to see Evaldi stay?
I do because of how he's performed the last couple years.
I
Like,
was just thinking that.
he isn't the
It's
worst.
like, yo, if he doesn't, who else do you have?
You know, like you have Eduardo Rodriguez and then you have Nathan Eovaldi. I'm gonna take Nathan Eovaldi any day of the week. But the real problem within the organization is Kyle Bloom. The motherfucker want to be cheap. Like, don't get me wrong. I think the best thing he did, pitching wise, although I couldn't agree to this when they first signed Rich Hill and Mike Walker, I thought those were the worst things. Like, I was like, Mike Walker, are you fucking serious? Have you seen his numbers against the Red Sox since 2013? Like, we're his daddy. Like, there's no getting past that. But yo, they balled out. And then Rich Hill, I don't know what the fuck he's taking. He's on that Verlander, Tom Brady juice. But beside that, what the fuck did he think? Like, those two were going to carry us to the promised land? No.
They also relied on fucking Ryan Brazier to come back healthy
man.
and pitch like he did 3
my
years ago.
God.
Like, come on, man.
Ryan Brazier's looking
This
like
isn't 2018.
fucking Kimbrel. He
No,
just needs
it's
the...
Functional.
It's bad out there. I think it'll be
Don't
interesting
throw
to
your
see
shoulder
what
out
they
there,
do.
Papa.
I almost did, yo. My shit was fucking fell off my arm. Like.
There's only 4 teams in all of baseball that have a worse ERA: Colorado, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, and Kansas City for their bullpen.
That's crazy.
And that's the thing with them; they just have no bullpen, and they have the hitting to where they weren't that bad this year. Like when we're talking about a bad team, there was even a time like we're almost still talking about them making a run at it like a month ago, but they have no pitching.
Yeah, I was like,
They
why
have
not?
no
It's the Red
pitch.
Sox. It seems like the Red Sox thing
But-
to do is just randomly go on a run.
Yeah,
Word.
no, it's like yeah.
3-game winning. We ended on
But
a
they just
3-game
have no
winning
pitching.
streak.
I just hope, to be honest with you, I hope Hosmer opts out. I hope he doesn't want to stay because his contract's huge.
Yo, he didn't
so-
even hit a home run for us. I
and-
cannot believe that.
And I think Tristan Sassis is a problem for the AL East though.
Carcass.
I hope so.
Caucus.
Lefty
he's-
love, man.
I think he's the one we've been waiting for. I honestly think. I mean, fuck Bobby Dalbec
He's the
too,
chosen
but
one?
I,
Carcass is
I
the
honestly
chosen
think.
one?
I like
Yeah,
this
I
discussion,
mean-
but I feel like this would be perfect
I
for
love
Red Sox
I love
therapy.
that though. I love that. He's the
Red
one
Sox
we've been
therapy,
waiting
man.
for. That's touching.
Let's save this for Red
Red
Sox
Sox
Dude,
therapy.
therapy,
he's-
we gotta
he
do
could
it.
be.
We gotta do
He
it.
could be, dude.
High and inside
He
Red Sox
hits
therapy.
bombs. Dude hits bombs. Like, absolute bombs. He's going to be a problem.
Hell yeah.
What a
So
weird team.
with that all being said, a very weird team the Red Sox are. Let's get excited because it's the National League that we're about to talk about now. This is all nuts. I don't know who's coming out of the National League. I mean, the AL, I feel like you can either say the Astros or the Yankees. Most likely the Astros. But in the National League, man, is this crazy. So let's start off with the 2 teams that are receiving byes. 2 100-win teams out of the 3 100-win teams in the whole league, or in the whole National League. You got the Dodgers and the Braves. So, Chris, why don't you lead us off? What are your true opinions on both of these teams? Who do you think is better? Are one of these teams even going to go to the World Series to represent the NL?
Let's
What
go,
do you think?
G-Man Chris. Let's fucking go.
I mean, this is a true juggernaut versus juggernaut. We have the starting pitching, we have the big lineups, we have the names, you have the big contracts, you have the Braves friendly contracts, you have great players everywhere. You have MVP players, Freddie Freeman's in the talks of MVP, honorable mentions in Mookie Betts, honorable mention for Trey Turner. You have a lot of offense. You have a lot of good pitching. What I will say is Jensen looked good down the stretch. That was exciting. He looked very good against the Braves. Against the Mets, rather. So it'll be interesting to see. I think the Dodgers, they have that committee they're working out still. I think that'll be interesting to see if they figure it out over the next couple days, kind of, see who's the strongest. But I think overall, if I had to pick, honestly, I like the Braves more than I like the Dodgers. Just because I still don't like Dave Roberts, and I would rather see the Braves win, because next year the Red Sox rival in the NL is officially the Braves. So, we'd be saying we're going against the champs.
I would like
That's
the
our
Red Sox
rival,
versus
champs.
Braves in the end. That's what I wanted last year.
NL rival.
It's interesting, yeah. I mean, you just actually took something that I wasn't really thinking about. I was more thinking about the players and pitching and all that. But I do agree with that manager thing. There's just something about Dave Roberts I've just never been a fan of. I think he's not terrible, but he's nothing great. He's just that, absolute middle of the pack average like manager to me, like nothing special. I do agree with you though. I there's something about the Braves this year where they have that scrappy, we're not gonna give up magic. The Dodgers, while they did win a lot of games this year, and they've always been, pretty good for, the last half decade at least, I think they're like expected to do well, and they weren't like under that much pressure to do well. Like I feel like they just took the division easily. Where the Braves fought and they got hot in the hottest time of the year, or the most important time of the year in September. The only thing that scares me a little bit with the Braves actually is the starting rotation. For some reason, I'm just not. I'm like not 50%. I'm not 100%. I'm like that, like 80%. Like I could still see them giving up some runs to the Dodgers, but I think with the teams, they have such good hitting. But with the Braves being so hot, it's like hard for me to not see them come back over like the Dodgers. Like it's going to be a battle. Don't get me wrong. If it does come down to those two teams playing each other, but there's something about the Braves, man. I'm not even taking last year with the World Series, just this year how they played.
Dave Roberts is Joe Girardi, by the way. He's just an average coach given a good team.
I don't know if he's that bad, but I give him that.
Wow.
He's right. He almost kind of
I didn't
reminds me
say
of
he's
like
bad.
Aaron
I didn't
Boone.
say Joe Girardi was bad. I said he's just average. But
Kind of reminds me of like Aaron Boone.
Ba-boom.
you don't like the Braves pitching starters?
No. I just it's because like Wright's good, Fried's good, but Spencer Strider's still a rookie, so it's like Morton. I guess he'll be good in the playoffs because he's been there before. But I'm just like not 100% sold. And I'm not saying the Dodgers one is, way better. But I could still see the Braves giving up runs. But the thing is, I also expect the Braves to score a lot of runs. Plus, their bullpen's solid. But like I said, I'm just not I'm not saying they have like a Scherzer, like a DeGrom Scherzer. Not even using the Mets. A normal DeGrom Scherzer. I just can see them still giving up some runs.
Like
You know who I hope they pitch? I hope they pitch Bryce Elder.
Bryce Elder.
Don't forget Charlie Morton.
No, like I said, Charlie Morton's still good. He's having a good strikeout year.
He could be that magical dude that comes out of the bullpen for you this year.
Yeah, I
Charlie
can
Morton
see
out
that.
of the bullpen sounds
I
nice.
feel like there's a lot to expect in this crazy ass fucking series between the both of them, man. You saw how it turned out last year, but to see the Dodgers become the juggernaut that they are, and we really haven't seen everybody in that team at their full potential. Like Mookie was there, but he still hasn't really been there. So why can't we see that now?
He's just been chilling in the outfield.
Exactly, that whole lineup is just that from the top to the bottom, and then you have the one-hit wonder Joey Gallo. You just never know what the fuck to expect from him. I hope
Oh, that's right.
I hope
yeah.
he's their JB Jesus and comes and just leads the fucking freight. And it's just like a big fuck you to the Yankee fans and all of New York, but there's just a lot to see from both ends, only because, last year the reigning champs did it without their number one franchise player. And to me, he has that chip on his shoulder that he wants to prove himself, and not only just himself, but to the Braves and the organization that, he's here to stay. He's their franchise player. And has he signed his max contract yet? No, right?
Who?
Acuna.
Freddie Freeman?
No, Acuna.
Acuna, he got one of those bullshit
Acuna?
deals.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he got a
Yeah, he's got like it was like 10. Wasn't it like 10 years, like 100 something mil?
Oh my god, that's what it was.
No,
I actually forgot.
I think it's like
Yeah.
eight and 90.
Oh my god.
It's something super
Oh
cheap.
my
93.
god. Like the
I don't know
Franco.
how, like,
Wonder
bro,
Franco.
Maybe
his
7.
agent. I don't understand how his
7.
agent was like, yeah, this is great.
Like Wonder
He
Franco.
got a very
You know
similar deal that Michael Harris got. I want to say it was like 7 and 90.
But
That's wild.
to give my
You know
opinion
what's
here.
wild?
Go ahead, Wolf.
No, just quickly to say is that I'm pretty sure every starting player position-wise player on the Dodgers has won the World Series at some point. Freddie Freeman, Turner,
Wow.
and then the rest of the Dodgers team. Mookie Betts has with the Red Sox. I'm pretty sure every one of them has won a chip already, or a ring. Good for them. But
Yeah, so, my opinion on both, I mean, the Dodgers, it's the Dodgers, like you guys are explaining, it's the Dodgers. Their pitching's a little suspect this year more than ever. I think some teams are going to surprise us and smack them a couple of games, smack them around a bit. But that's where Dave Roberts is going to have to come in and yet again prove why he's the best manager in baseball, if he is that. But on the Atlanta Braves side, wow, did this team get hot at the very right time. They're hot, they're confident, they're talking shit, they're combating other teams like the Mets, for example. They're playing the trumpets and still beating the shit out of them when it matters most. It's a very scary team. Like I said, very scary forecast for the next few years because they got all these guys locked up. Now, who do I think is better? So I'm going to give it to the Braves for right now, but, the Dodgers at any point, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Trey Turner, Will Smith, I guess if you want to include Cody Bellinger in that scenario, they got good hitting.
Oh my God,
I just
Cody
don't
Bellinger.
think this year is going to be the year for them. I'm still on the side of the Mets or the Cardinals are going to be the ones to represent the NL in the World Series.
That'd be
But
nice.
I would say if the Dodgers and the Braves met up in the NLCS, I'm going to have to give it to the Braves in like 5.
In 5.
'Cause, yeah.
I respect it.
I don't know.
Braves.
I can't see it.
June 1st, 10.5 games back. 8 days in first place. Still come out the second place team.
Yo, the Dodgers went 37-10 at one point. Let's not forget that. That's mind-boggling to me. And then at that, they didn't have their top prospect, Dustin May, who is now, he's back, right? So.
But my thing is with the Dodgers is kind of like, you played this whole year, you won 111 games or whatever it ended up being this year, 112,
Which hasn't been done
111.
since 1909.
Right, which is nuts. Crazy team. But at the same time, it was like, they don't know what the chase is yet this year. They don't know what that, really being chased down life is. They just kind of coasted to winning 111 games. It was easy baseball. It was what it was. Now they're getting this bye. And then they're going to get either the Cardinals, the Phillies, the Mets, or the Padres. If the Phillies or the Padres win, they're going to have so much momentum because, it's the Mets or the Cardinals that they're facing. But the Mets, if the Mets don't come out with a I want to smack the shit out of somebody attitude after how this season went down in the last week, I'm going to be really shocked. I think the Mets are going to have a huge chip on their shoulder. Yeah, I think the Mets have a huge chip on their shoulder. I think that's the last team the Dodgers want to see. And if it's the Cardinals, they're going to have Magic, and you know how the Dodgers are against Magic. So whoever ends up facing the Dodgers, I don't see the Dodgers winning a series.
You know what else is interesting is the Dodgers were playing their everyday players and just got beat up this last weekend by the Rockies.
yeah, you never know. Never know,
You
man.
can say the same thing about the
Like I
Yankees
said,
against
they
Texas,
they're
because my
they
goodness.
expecting to win. They don't get chip.
The Texas Rangers walked all
Yeah,
over the
that's true.
Yankees the last couple games. Wow.
I don't know, man.
Whoever betted against the Yankees
I think this
came up.
is a different New York Mets team. I don't know. I've said it all year long. I don't think it's your Mets team that's gonna come into the postseason and shit the bed. I mean, it very well could be, and then I'll be very mad because I'm sitting here talking good things about the Mets. But I don't know. I think these guys have a chip on their shoulder. They've been talking like they have all season long, even when they were, in command of the division and everything. I don't know. That's the last team I want to face if I'm the Dodgers. I mean, the Braves. That'll be an issue if that's the the immediate matchup. But if it's the Dodgers, I can see the Mets fucking taking them out back. Yeah. So
I'll
with
save that
that,
for my Mets part. I
all
gotta.
right,
just
you
got
got
so
it. You got
excited.
it. So Cardinals.
He wrote
versus
that
the
down in
Phillies.
his favorite take ever. That was his favorite take ever. Is you saying the Mets are going to beat the Dodgers.
Right.
I'll quick say it now too because we are talking about technically the Braves and Dodgers. Is that you actually brought up a good point of how the Mets actually have a positive record against the Dodgers this year. The last month is actually when we had the negative record against the Braves. And the Cardinals actually just beat the Braves in the last few months, or the last few weeks. So if you take the Cardinals versus the Braves, Cardinals have beaten the Braves, knocked them out. Mets have beaten the Dodgers, knocked them out. And then there's the Cardinals Mets kind of reunion that we've been actually that you just talked about in this episode.
Yeah.
So there's actually a good roadway now to do that. The hardest part is the Padres, but we'll talk about
the reason I believe in the Mets just a little bit more is because, they've sat here and they engaged in a real crazy fight with the Braves. Yeah, they lost, but it wasn't in the playoffs yet. They're still hanging around. They got the salty taste in their mouth. They're a 100 win team, and they know that. If the Mets again, like if they come out and lay an egg, I swear to God, Wulfy, I'm gonna fucking roast you into like the next 10 episodes. But
I swear, dude, the hardest part is going to be the next 3 days because the one team that has actually given us a problem this year is the Padres. But I figured I'll save that for the Mets Padres take.
Yo, Chris, you got something to say?
I was gonna say, Wolfie's calculations of teams beating teams, it all comes down to the Mets just
winning the
Law-
World Series.
I'm fucking number crunching
Mets-
over here.
they the Braves just beat up on the Mets, beat up on the Aces. I don't know. Math is off.
Well, that's what I'm saying is that the Mets right now, bracket-wise, wouldn't play the Braves unless the Cardinals or the Phillies lose to the Braves.
When I
So
make us a
since-
soundboard, I'm gonna do the math is off. That was perfect. Math is off. You press a
I
button
guess-
to say.
You
To
know
kinda
who's a scary
transaction-
injury?
What's up?
Is Marte. Marte's out. I think that's
Oh, yeah.
that's a big loss.
But for that transaction too with the Cardinals and Phillies, I wonder which one of them would be the better team to beat the Braves. I would probably
So
assume
let's-
the Cardinals.
Let's talk about it. Chris, open us up. Cardinals versus Phillies. Opinions on both. Prediction. What's up?
Cardinals versus Phillies.
It's gonna be an interesting one.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
I feel
A
like the Phillies are in the playoffs.
lot of good players, a lot of big names. You can say, you have Harper, you have Schwarber, you have Hoskins, you have Wheeler. It's gonna be Wheeler versus Wainwright first game, and then you have Arenado, you have Goldschmidt. Should be a slugfest. I think it gets tight. I think the one thing that the Cardinals have that is better than the Phillies ultimately. Well, Howard Pujols, but also they have Helsley, and he's fucking lights out. I think he could be.
Yeah, the Phillies can.
He can make he can make a name this offseason or this postseason. If the Cardinals make a run, I think Helsley is a big part of that. He's locked down.
For
I'm
sure,
picking
what's
the
up,
Cardinals.
No, I think it's going to be the Cardinals too. I'm just not high on the Phillies. I haven't really been high on them all year. I do like their bats with Harper. I think Castellanos, even though he had a down year, he's still a good bat. Schwarber's having a crazy home run year.
Sure. An understatement.
Wheeler's going to be a tough matchup. I think him and Wainwright, that's going to be a pitcher's duel. I agree with that. But when you get past that, I think it's anybody's game. Nola's good, but I don't think it's 100% with Nola. Not like it was, it was fantastic years. The Cardinals, though, they have Arenado and Goldie, like you mentioned, both pretty much having MVP years. Harper's still doing good, don't get me wrong, but those guys, I can just see them leading the team. But pitching-wise, just to both credits, just taking starters out of the equation, bullpen, you're talking about almost like a rank 10 Cardinals, like a rank 18 Phillies. Helsley, it's like him alone could just tear up that whole Phillies team. So once you get past the starters too, and you get into the bullpen, dude, look at what the Mets and I think it was the Dodgers or the Reds, like someone else this year also, actually, no, maybe it was the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals were the other team that put up like a 6-run spot in the ninth inning against the Phillies this year. Their back end of their bullpen can just be atrocious to where I could just see the Cardinals maybe putting like a
Wasn't
1
it
or
the
2
Mets
up, and then
against
once
the-
that bullpen comes
against the
around, they're putting
Phillies?
up 5 or 6.
My bugger. The beginning.
No, they did the first one, but they did it again later, and I can't remember which team did it to them again. It was either the Cardinals or the Dodgers. But once you get into that bullpen, I don't see the Cardinals losing that at all.
So what's up, Devontae? What you think?
Me, if you know, you know, Papa Albert, and I just want to see Grandpa Albert right into the sunset better than Derek Jeter did, because why the fuck not? Like, the dude hit 703 fucking bombs. Like, goodness. And, let's not forget, his postseason numbers, unbelievable. The dude batted like 321. And at that, when he played for the Cardinals, his years back, he was a fucking monster. However, you have Bryce Harper, who missed out on winning a chip with Thomas Saxby, but I think he takes I think he takes that personal, and it's just like, I
He
need
wanted
one.
us to win. He said it in his press conference, man. He said, I'm here to bring a title to DC. I mean Philadelphia. He said it himself, man.
Exactly.
And guess what happened?
So-
He brought a title to DC by leaving.
And then you have, Kyle from Waltham, who's fucking bugging out. Like, I can't believe we let him go, and then he, what was it, 44 fucking dongs he hit this year?
45.
Another guy,
like,
and you replaced him
Where?
with fucking Trevor Story.
and he is the underdog because everybody forgets he had one of the best fucking playoff runs I've ever seen in my life. The dude missed the whole fucking season in 2016 for the Chicago Cubs, and if you were in high school with
When
me,
he
I
came
was
back,
telling
stood on first
everybody.
base, was like, suck my dick.
Yo, exactly. Yo, if you went to high school with me, I was telling everybody, watch, he's gonna go fucking crazy. If you were like, who is he to go crazy? He went fucking crazy, and he's one of the best MLB fucking Diamond Dynasty cards ever. Like, bro, I hope to see that shit all over again, because my goodness, what a fucking yo. Every time you saw him come at bat, you was like, damn, like, do we pitch to him? Do we not pitch to him? We pitch to him. He was ass in the outfield. Don't get me wrong. He was fucking garbage, but he made up for it batting. Like, oh my god. And, like you guys said, you have MVP candidates that are Goldie and Paul Goldschmidt, who's been there. They've both been there. They both understand what it's like.
Goldie and Paul Goldschmidt.
Oh shit, my bad. Goldie and Arenado.
I'm like, you fucking duplicate.
Yo, in my head, I'm like, something doesn't sound right. But whatever.
But anyway, no, you get.
No, that was fun. I needed that.
Threw me off for a second too. I'm like,
What? You have the both of those guys
We're all
who
high in the
having
waves.
fucking crazy years, and I don't see why it wouldn't transition into the playoffs. And at that you have Wainwright, you have Yachty, and you have Pujols. So it gives everybody else in that organization that extra push to want to send them off the right way. And not only that, you have those seasoned veterans. Well, they're not even veterans at this point. Like, they're Hall of Famers in no regards. Their years and knowledge of the game helps push everybody that's now, like, going to take over the organization, that push to continue to do better. And I just think they're going to be able to have a complete team like they've never had before.
Yeah, so, listen, the Philadelphia Phillies, they have such, on paper, they're the better team. I'm sorry. On paper, I have the Phillies as a better team than the
Castellanos.
Cardinals.
Don't sleep on them.
They got the hitting up and down. They got Wulfy, I don't know how you can't give Nola credit. Sorry, I was making some faces while you were basically just saying, like, Nola was just, whatever. That man as your number 2 in a rotation is nuts. They can easily win this series. But it's fuck the Phillies over here because, listen, man, the St. Louis Cardinals, they got the magic. Listen, they got the Pujols, they got the Wainwright, they got the Ade. They got those guys retiring. Not only are they who they are, they're great, fantastic leaders, whether they even play a game or not. For whatever reason, Wainwright is their number 1 starter. And he's completely fallen off the train tracks this past month, so I don't know how that's going to go. But it's going. It's going to happen. Wainwright's going to, channel some different dimension that he always does when he needs to. And he's just going to come out just fucking throwing spitballs. And,
he's probably taking ayahuasca before fucking games and just pitching his ass off.
But I wanna put a spotlight on Goldschmidt and Arenado. They're basically the same player. Think about their experiences they had before coming to St. Louis. Goldschmidt was an angry guy that wanted to win very badly in Arizona, but they didn't quite have the team. But what was Arenado? A very angry guy in Colorado that wanted to win, but they just couldn't put that team around him. Now they both just come together. They join forces. They're MVP candidates for a reason. I don't think that's disappearing in the playoffs. I think they got home field advantage the entire way through. Yeah, it's just it's not looking good for your Philadelphia Phillies. Whoever's out there rooting for this fucking garbage ass team.
Like, which one?
The same way it's not looking good for Mike McCain, who just got fired, which is wild. That's not surprising though.
I'm gonna say Jordan Montgomery makes it further than the Yankees do in the playoffs.
Of course, and that's personal for him because my goodness, who would have thought?
That's personal for me. I'm not ready for that.
That means they win and go farther.
That'd be nice.
But
that's a nice rub it in their face.
So, calling it.
I think we can leave that series there. So, Mets versus Padres. Chris, what you got to say? Like, Wolf's on
Mets
alert. Wolf's on
versus
high alert already.
Padres. Here we go. All right. Got game 1. Darvish versus... Well, the Mets haven't announced who they're going to pitch yet, but we all know
I think they just
confirmed
it with Scherzer. I think it was just confirmed with
Scherzer for real?
Yeah, if you can believe it.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I think it's Scherzer.
There's the matchup.
There's the matchup.
Again, a lot of stars. We have Manny Machado, some people's MVP this year. We have Juan Soto. Maybe he comes alive in the playoffs. See him back to... I mean, he has been getting better this past month, so I hope to see him come out big this postseason. And then we have, just who we knew we had on the Mets side. We got Lindor, got Pete Alonso, got McNeil. He just got the highest batting average for the season. Yep.
Batting champ. Give him that.
Give him the individual. Give him the individual awards, but I think ultimately comes down to it. Ooh. It comes down to...
The thing that changes is that it's hard when you're looking at that. I know you're looking at, roster stats, and I would have said the same thing.
I'm not looking at anything.
Then, I thought you were looking at the stats. I was going to say, because even, Escobar, man, I know Escobar. When you glance at him, it's 20-something home runs, 60-something RBIs with a low average. But, man, he just got hot the last month. But, no, continue.
Literally.
Escobar, he's... My opinion of Escobar, he's going to give you a double, he's going to give you a home run, or he's going to give you a strikeout. But anyway, I think it comes down to the bullpen. I think it pains me to say this. I think Diaz is the more effective closer. I think that it comes down to the starting pitching. I don't know. I don't hate the Padres starting pitching though. I think they're very formidable. I think it's very close. I think it's a lot closer than people are saying it is, to be honest with you. Because think about the dudes who on the Padres who they're all bummed out about Tatis. They still make the playoffs. They got Manny Machado. And they got Juan Soto.
Manny fucking Machado.
Those two dudes get hot. You could see them be like fucking Manny Ramirez and fucking David Ortiz. It could be some scary shit.
I like that.
I'm going with the fucking Padres. Woo! Padres beat the Mets. at City Field.
Crazy.
Juan Soto. Because you know why? Because Wulfy's been talking shit about Juan Soto for the last month and a half. I think Juan Soto comes live and fucking owns the Mets. He says, City Field, I am back.
I can see that happening at least.
Yeah,
You know
well,
what it is? I actually
Typical Mets
think,
fan.
I think this is going to be... If the Mets win and play the Dodgers, right? I actually think this series is going to be tougher than that. The thing that scares me about the Padres, which I'm actually surprised more people are siding with the Mets on this, is that Darvish has like amazing numbers pitching against the Mets. The other guy, I would assume they're going Snell, or is it Musgrove? Have they? I don't know if they've confirmed that far
No.
yet. But either way, those guys also have good numbers against the Mets. The Mets do technically have better bullpen stats. I think the thing that's really going to help the Mets, though, it's I don't see this being like it's going to go back and forth for every game, but the Mets also have the home field advantage, where I think that's going to help just that much more. Like where like a guy like Escobar, Pete, Jeff, Lindor, they'll take that energy in. Scherzer will eat that up if he's pitching. I think someone like Snell actually could get the pressure to him. Soto, I actually think will do well in this playoff series. I just look at like the lineup side by side. If they had Tatis, I would almost say it's like a lock they would win. But because they have a couple holes and just some bats just aren't performing as well as they'd like, plus Hader's not pitching that well, I'm going to give the Mets the advantage, just not taking bias aside. But it's going to be a tough series regardless. Easily, it's going to be like a freaking nail biter to the end.
I was saying, do you know the timetable for Starling Marte?
He's missing this series, they said.
Well,
I know.
I thought he was going to be back by now, but
Imagine Alvarez just has a fucking career fucking playoffs.
I really want to see the New York Yankees versus the Mets, so I have to give it to the Mets. And after seeing how they had one of the craziest choke jobs I've seen in a while, I think this lights a fire under their asses to, come ball out. DeGrom look at his past tapes and sees how Dansby Swanson walked all over him because he left a couple pitches down the cock. So, he has to just go around and understand where not to miss. And I'm pretty sure those pitches that he threw right there, he probably just missed them. So, aside from that, they scored like 1 run off him. Besides that, he carries that team. And he has a lot to prove, only because, he's been hurt all these years. When was the last time he really got to pitch this far into the playoffs? 2015?
I was going to say most of this team hasn't, he has, but most of this team hasn't even seen the playoffs, which is going to be interesting. But it's kind of the same thing with the Padres, though, too.
Indeed, and...
But you're right, it's been a while. Which why I'm glad
Machado and Soto been to the World Series, man.
Word. To add on to your Dodgers thing.
Oh, with the Dodgers.
I like to call, you in the playoffs is different. He's you garbage. That's what I like to call him because he's also a big, phenomenal choke job like Clayton choke style. But who knows if this is the year for the both of them. Aside from that, Soto has a lot to prove. Because he really hasn't been the player everybody expected him to be after that trade deadline. And, I feel like you have Lindy, you have Polar Pete, you have the Flying Squirrel, and Escobar that is going to just lead the fight and take us to the promised land.
So, the series can appear as difficult, really difficult, when you kind of look at everything. However, I'm going against the Padres here. I definitely see the Mets winning this. Like Devontae said, one big point I was going to bring up is that Yu Darvish is not a good playoff performer at all. And against a team like the Mets, 1 through 9, they're going to be all over your pitching. They're going to be annoying.
First pitch,
they're going to be on it. And then on top of that, you got Max Scherzer. Game 1, this is what Max Scherzer does. I think he's going to do his thing. And just one other comment I want to make, though, is that Juan Soto, man, don't sleep on that guy. He's going to be, even though they're all games that are going to be held in Citi Field, they're all going to be Mets home games. Juan Soto, I don't even think any of that exists. This dude thrives in territories against him. He's an absolute monster in the big lights, so that's definitely something.
And in New York too.
Scared
he has
for
good numbers in New York.
But when I thought about the deciding factor, I thought about how Josh Hader is an absolute bologna sandwich with no cheese or mayonnaise or nothing, just the bologna and the bread.
Not even the bread.
So I truly believe
bread.
the Padres
Kraft
are going to
cheese.
embarrass themselves. I think the Padres are going to I think the Mets take game 1. The Padres are about to win game 2, but Hader comes in and the bologna flies right off the sandwich. Now it's just bread. And then I think the Mets, they finish the job in 2 games.
So down and away, you guys know down and away, high and inside, down and away is our segment. where
Down
we just
and
roast the
away. It's
shit
time to fucking
out of everyone.
time to get somebody. Time to roast somebody. Who is it? Drum roll.
So, well, I can tell you one thing: it's a team that does not have the manager of the year, which is the Chicago White Sox.
Bro, fire that fucking
got him over
manager.
here.
Get that fucking boomer out of here, bro.
And I think they did confirm that he is done this year, thank God. But when you look at the talent that team had, some of the guys that stepped up this year, like Dylan Cease, granted they dealt with some injuries. How did you lose to a division where it was the faltering Twins, Tigers sucked, Royals sucked. Granted, the Guardians stepped up, but you didn't even make a push at it, at all. We joked about them doing, but they never really did.
Russo.
Was it all the manager's fault?
Yes.
I don't know.
Is the World
But that
War
team
II veteran? Come on now.
I would say a good solid 90% was, but there was just
95.
something about that team that just didn't click this year. And going forward, what's the next step? Do you build the bullpen? Do you try to add some more bats, the rotation, or do you just do nothing like we joked about with the Brewers in the beginning?
I just gotta know, man. Those guys in the front office in the off season, like I said, they all sat in a conference room, big old table, whole bunch of chairs, and one guy was like, you know what? Before we do anything this off season, let's smoke some crack. Right? I think
Some piece of pee.
I
don't know what in the wildest imagination they thought that Tony La Russa was going to work with this team. It's because the moment that he was signed, you would think fans around the MLB would be like, oh my God, Tony La Russa, the legendary manager, is back to run this team. It's like no one believed in it, and exactly what we thought would happen. He clashed with his players. They weren't motivated to win for him. Exactly what a lot of us predicted happened.
Exactly.
And it sucks because the front office, you literally sat here and you wasted a very good year. What a year it could have been. Because I think the Chicago White Sox at the top of their game, everybody healthy, everyone locked in. Yeah, I would pick them in a series over the Yankees or the Astros, depending on what actually goes down during the season. But
definitely most of the
You
wild
saw what
cards
happened
was-
last year.
what the fuck, Chicago? Why did you guys do that? Why did you guys look at this year and just throw it away? You guys literally had no aspirations. No one was motivated at any point in the season. Luis Robert randomly just, they put him day to day and then forgot he existed for 3 weeks. So he was on the day-to-day report every day for 3 weeks. I wasted so many bets on him. I didn't know what was going on. It was just it's sickening.
It's the
The
same
group of talent
way
they
Yeah.
have.
LaRusso was sleeping in the games and probably thought he was never going to wake up. And then he was like, oh shit, I'm still here. Ooh.
Oh, this Chicago White Sox thing wasn't a dream. Wow. Holy fuck.
Fever dream.
That's why his bullpen management was so bad, because after the 7th inning, he was getting all cranky. Then they stopped serving alcohol.
I swear to God.
Remember
like,
he
you
was
saw that
listening to the
call, and
fucking
he
fans? That's fucking wild.
Yeah,
Bro.
fans telling him to put in the pinch hitter.
Oh,
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
he got that call from those guys, and he was like I said, they were doing crack, so it was like 12:30 in the morning. He's already like fucking 8 Jack and whiskeys or whatever he was having in. He got that call, and they were like, "Hey man, it's Chicago. It's the Chicago White Sox. What you doing right now?" He's like, "Oh." They're like, "Okay,
Off his
man."
Xanax.
So right, like you want to come manage our team this year? He's like,
Yeah, sure.
So they showed up at his house. He drunkly signed the contract, and then he woke up the next day like, wow, I actually did that. I actually have to go through with this. And that's what I saw all season. Like, just no one was motivated. Nobody. It's just it's a disgrace to baseball at this point.
They have a
Like,
lot of free agents this year too.
So, I wanted to see Eloy
Interesting to
Jimenez.
see if they blow it up.
Eloy Jimenez, we
You
actually
gotta
didn't speak about him on the 40 for 40. He could give us 40 for 40 with the speed and fucking power he has.
Hopefully he gives us
Did
anything.
you blow it up?
God,
blow up
Robert,
the team?
Anderson, Eloy.
I-
They
I-
had Lynn, Giolito, Cease.
Well,
Good name.
You got
I can't
Yeah,
blow up the team
Jose-
because it's like
Fucking, what's his name? Moncada, bro.
get them a manager that's like that's a nerd. Like get them like Mike Schilt. I don't know. Get them some guy
Get
that's
him Joe
just gonna,
Girardi.
like really just fucking
Bring
support
back
everybody.
Joe Girardi.
I'm not gonna lie. I could see Ozzie Guillen being better this
Of
year.
course,
That
way
team.
better.
Oh my god, I feel like they go to the World Series if they had us.
Dude.
Facts. It would have been like
Actually, and you know what's funny?
Marlon
You just
Galore again.
Ozzy. I like that.
like you said,
Do you- so-
Moncada too, Jose Abreu. They had Grandal. We obviously had a bad season, but they have all these.
They had a
names.
Cy Young
Fuck
contending. They had a Cy Young contending starter. They had other starters where like how, God, like somebody slap Lance Lynn, slap Lucas Giolito. Like you guys are better than this. Wake up, wake the fuck up for once. Where was that guy like rattling their cages? You know, you have Liam Hendricks, one of the best closers in baseball. Like you got a lineup up and down. What are we doing?
And a shit division.
Yep.
It was there.
And now you got a bunch of free
literally-
agents.
Yeah, you got like a nice 5-course meal on a plate, and you said, "I want ramen and spam instead." I don't get
We
it.
went from last year with them like beating the Yankees in the Field of Dreams, thinking about this is
Exactly.
the next dynasty. Tim Anderson on the cover of everything. You know, them scrapping with the Yankees at the beginning of the year, and then all of a sudden it's just like, what the fuck happened to that team? Yeah, that team is just they just fell off, and it's hopefully. Let's just say this: I don't even know where they go from here. Do they come back next year and do the same thing? Are the other teams? in
Well,
that
You know
division-
what it
What
was?
would the
Josh
New York-
Donaldson got to Tim Anderson. That's what it was.
You got
Yeah.
Tim Anderson, Pollock, who's not that big of a deal to be
Word.
gone or stay. Doesn't really matter. But you also have Jose Abreu. He's a free agent.
Oh.
So
Oh, he is okay. I didn't realize. I thought
Heart
some of
and
those
soul.
What about
Yeah, I think
Moncada?
he's the heart and soul.
Mhm. So yeah.
Nah, Moncada's
Did
not
you
afraid.
blow it
I
up?
mean, you're gonna have. I think you keep Robert. You got Robert, Eloy, Moncada. I mean,
Yeah, no.
yeah. Why didn't they trade? Well, why did they trade Abreu? Why did they?
Word.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I didn't realize. I thought he was
'Cause they-
sticking around. If
He
they-
should have gone
they
to the Red Sox.
weren't, I don't know why.
Imagine.
Because you guys, them, you, the Twins, you all thought you had a chance. The White Sox, Twins, you guys thought the White Sox, the Twins. Then the Guardians came out of nowhere.
Terry Francona.
And you know what?
Terry Francona.
Terry Francona.
We're
the
gonna.
Yahoo.
I feel because I want to hug this man so much. We're gonna end this episode on that note. Just Terry Francona. I'm gonna put in big letters. Just Terry Francona. We're
Wanna
rooting
beat
for
him
you,
by
man.
102.
If I hope you're listening because we're rooting for you. I'm gonna tag you if you even have social media. But that's another episode of High and Inside. You know, hopefully we laid out the entire playoffs for you because this was damn near 2 hours. I'm ready to go die.
Yeah, you looking like Tony La Russa right now.
Nah, chill. Don't do me like that. Don't do me like that.
That was it.
Passed.
Oh,
Oh man, Devontae, you're fired. No, I'm kidding. But
You're hired.
but that was another episode. Like, subscribe. Sell your soul to this podcast. We're making moves. We're gaining a lot of traction lately. So we're gonna keep bringing the heat. We're gonna keep bringing the content. If you thought this was gonna end, we got a lot more to go.
This is just the beginning.
Just
Thank
getting
you
started.
Thank you for watching. Enjoy. Have a good night.
Word. Wash your hands and stay hydrated, you
Peace.
fucking bitches. Now let me stop.
Oh, Mets.
Terry Francona.
Terry Frank.
Let's get it.